Good morning. Welcome back to the channel again. I got another video, guys. I'm going to be putting some more new parts on the truck. Today we got the Ironman 4x4 upper control arms that we're going to swap out. I'll show you what those look like here. So we got the new upper control arms, and these things are beefy. So I decided to go with the Ironman ones for ease of maintenance, really. So it uses factory type bushings here on the top. So supposedly they are no squeak bushings, so it should never squeak. They should last a real long time. They're like factory style bushings. And then for the actual ball joints here in the front, they are factory ball joints. So in case you ever run into an issue and you're out somewhere and you need to get a ball joint replaced, they're not proprietary to the A-arm. They are factory ball joints. So you can just locate a factory ball joint and get this swapped out if you ever run into an issue. So we're gonna get those swapped out and put onto the truck. I also did get some bump stops for the front to finish off the suspension. And I'll also be replacing my one tie rod end that I kind of messed up when I was doing the install of the shocks. So I'm gonna get started on this stuff and I'll show you what this looks like. So as far as install goes, it's only 2 bolts, so 1 bolt and 1 bolt. But on the Tacomas, if you know, you've seen a bunch of videos, they are a pain in the butt because the top bolt is a pain to get out. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my time on doing this job. I know when you try to rush, things get frustrating. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started and hopefully we can get this knocked out pretty easily. All right, so I got the first side control arm out. Just as I thought, it's a pain in the butt. This part, you really gotta try and pull this back. And then I kind of crawled under so I can look up because this wire harness definitely gets in the way. For a little while, I thought it was a sheet metal, but it was actually hitting on the wire harness more than I thought. So I got up underneath there, moved the wire harness out while I pulled the bolt, and now she's off. So now we're gonna put the new one in and reverse the process. All right, so reversing the process is pretty easy. Once you slip the bolt through there, literally took me 2 seconds to put the bolt back in. Took me half an hour to get the bolt out, of course. But yeah, so in between here, I can fit my fingers a good portion of the way between the coil and the A-arm, so it definitely has more room. So it shouldn't get no binding or rubbing at full droop. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this stuff down. I'll put on the new bump stops. And then right here, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little bit of oil coming out of here, or grease, I mean. And that's why I'm gonna replace this tie rod end with the Moog one. So I'll give you a look once it's done. All right, so here's a quick comparison of the new bump stops. So this is the old one. You can definitely tell the new durobumps are longer, but they are also softer. So they'll engage sooner, but they're softer. So if you hit a big bump or something like that, it's gonna soften out the bump a lot quicker. These are kind of like rock hard, but I'm gonna go ahead and get those swapped out and continue on. All right, so I got the driver's side done. It wasn't too bad. Honestly, everything, it's like everybody else, just getting the sheet metal out of the way and pulling that top bolt is the longest, hardest part. Other than that, it's pretty easy. Everything just bolts right back in. I did put in the new durobumps too. And I'm gonna leave the tie rod in how it is for now. And I'm gonna have the shop that does the alignment just put it in because the new one, the Moog one, is a different actual size. So it goes up to like this piece here. And so instead of me trying to measure and trying to get it right so my steering's not too far off to drive it to the alignment shop tomorrow, I'll just have the alignment shop do it before they do the alignment. Just put it on there and then get it aligned. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on the passenger side now. And now that I've already done this side, passenger side should go pretty quickly. It shouldn't be too bad. And I'll show you what the final result looks like. Oh, and a quick note, so if you are using the Ironman upper control arms, this bracket here for the brake line that holds the brake line, it does have to be drilled to fit the new bolt through it. Not too much bigger, but a little bit bigger. But definitely try and do that like maybe when you take off the original one, just to give you a little bit more space to drill, and just be sure you don't hit your brake line here. But that's just a quick note. All right, got all the passenger side all wrapped up. Got the new A-arm in, got the new durobump in. This one took me longer. If you can look and see how much sheet metal I had to bend back, that one, like, it goes back pretty far where you got to try and bend it back to get the bolt to slip through. I got it to where I can get the bolt like up to like this point, and then I basically just took a flathead and just knocked the bolt out. And then once I did that, I was able to put it back in, and it did get kind of stuck in that same area, but basically I just took a pair of pliers and just grabbed it and shoved it like back the way it's supposed to go, and it went back in. But definitely it's not too hard of an install. That's your biggest thing you're gonna run into, is just trying to get the bolt to come through there. It's definitely a terrible design by Toyota. And I'm curious because I know they say, oh, once the control arm's on, they don't really need to do anything. The stock ones are maintenance free, but I mean, eventually you'll have to swap them out. So I wonder what Toyota does if they do the same process, if they ever have to swap out like stock control arms on a truck for any reason. So I wonder if they do that same process. But anyway, this is how it looks. So I'm gonna get it on the ground, and then tomorrow, today's Sunday, so tomorrow I'll take it in and get it aligned and all that stuff. The Ironman upper control arms, they do come with additional caster built in. It says about 4 degrees of caster. So basically it's pushing your spindle here, it's pushing it back to push your wheel forward this way to give you that additional caster. But I watched a YouTube video. He's a really good, he explains all the suspension and stuff like that, especially for Toyota, is really good. It's called like Tinker's Adventures. And he actually has a pair of these, and he had like SPCs and all that stuff. But he measured like the actual degrees that it gives you, and this one gives you more of a 2-degree correction, which is good for basically like the height that I got and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with that. So the main reason I went with the Ironman ones was the ease of maintenance. So they're maintenance free again. Stock style bushings here, so it shouldn't squeak, should last a long time. And then again, stock ball joint, so if I ever need to swap it out, I can just grab a stock one. I was looking into SPCs for the adjustability of them, but it was going to tempt me to run like 35s, I know it. So if I had the ability to adjust a little bit more, I was probably going to try and squeeze some 35s in here. Right now I'm running the 33 1050s by Kenda. No cab mount chop, and I do not rub anywhere. I had a little bit of rubbing when I was stock height, but as soon as I put on the Falcons and I have these on, there's just no rubbing at all with the 33. So I'm kind of happy with that. Don't need to re-gear or anything like that. So that's kind of why, like, I also went with the Ironman to kind of get me away from the temptation of running 35s. Gas is too high right now, and I don't really need the 35s, but I definitely like the look of them. They are cast aluminum, so they are pretty lightweight. They seem pretty strong. They're beefy, and I like the look. So I'm gonna get the truck done and put it on the ground. All right, guys, so I got the truck done. It's out of the garage. I pulled it out. I kind of drove up, drove back. The alignment actually doesn't even seem that far off. Like, the steering wheel seems straight and everything like that, but I'll still take it in tomorrow to get an alignment. But I'll give you a quick look at what it looks like when it's all done. And as far as mods go, I'm probably pretty close to being done for now, honestly. The only thing I would probably want to get in the future is going to be a set of skid plates and probably rock sliders. But other than that, suspension wise, camper wise, front bumper, winch, all that stuff, it's pretty good. It's pretty set right now. The only thing I would like to do is maybe get like a rear, not a rear bumper because those are super expensive, but one of the hitches that come out that holds your spare tire and all that stuff. That'd be nice, just to get the spare tire out from underneath the truck. But other than that, it's looking pretty dialed. All right, finished product. Definitely liking the look of the silver upper A-arms. I might have went with the JBA ones because they were a little bit more cost effective, but I didn't want all the colors thrown off. They would have been red with teal with blue. It would have been look crazy. So I like the silver look with the teal. And that's pretty much it. Oh, and I also want to say, like, I try to do a lot of my own work because a lot of these shops, especially lately, they try and charge like an arm and a leg to get this work done. So it took me 3 hours, basically just taking my time and, you know, fighting with the bolt and all that stuff. So 3 hours. Now, if it's a shop, and especially like a Toyota shop, and they know how to do this stuff, they still try and charge you 3-4 hours labor when you know if they've done it multiple times, they can get that probably knocked out in an hour or two. But the labor on that is probably about $100 an hour. So probably paying $300 to $400 to get it installed, and then who knows if they charge you more to get an alignment also after when it's done. So basically I was able to do it myself. So all I got to do is pay for the alignment, get done tomorrow. So maybe about $100. And it's definitely not too difficult. I'm basically just a YouTube mechanic. I just YouTube everything before I do it, see what I'm really getting into, and then I just take a shot, see if I can get it done. But definitely worth it. A lot of people can do it. So if you're contemplating doing your own suspension and all that stuff, definitely give it a try. Watch some of the YouTube videos, check it out. It's definitely not too difficult.